I don't ever know how to start. I don't know. Hi, welcome back. I don't know. This is the personal development journey. This will be number one because everything that I learned from the last week, well, learned, implemented, aha moments ish. There's actually one I'm not sharing yet, but that needs to be like developed a bit more. That's okay. I have notebooks. I wrote stuff down, like so I know what I'm saying, and then I just have like my journal. And I guess I'll get started. I don't know. Sure. I can just start talking whenever, can't I? Um so I think the biggest one of like actually like the biggest things that I took from this last week was from a nutrition podcast. So it's actually one that just started a little bit over a month ago. It started in December. Now it's like almost 2 months ago. It's weird. It's the last day of January. It'll be the first day of February when this goes up. And it's called Nutrition Rounds, and I will link it below. It's just the first episode they had. So they had Dr. Dean Ornish and his wife Ann Ornish on. They've apparently just written a book, so that's cool. But one of the questions that they ask is like their patients, because they're really about plant-based nutrition and health, curing and like reversing chronic diseases, and people live healthier lives. So the question they ask is, why do you want to live longer? And so this was actually something that I journaled about 3 times. For some reason I have it in my head, like I'm just gonna live to be 100. Like that's just kind of like my goal that I'm going for. And so I asked myself, like, why? Why do I want to live to be 100? And that was actually super powerful for me, especially kind of right now. I'm also on like a health journey. I'm really bad with cravings, and like ice cream is the love of my life. It's so bad. It's so good, but it's so bad. And so, especially with kind of like talking about purpose, like I did in the last video a little bit, and kind of coming to like an ish purpose for my life, which I don't really like having like a whole purpose for your life, but really surrounding like helping other people, helping them to live their best life or to grow or to even get out of poverty or whatever. It's very vague at this point. But I just really realized like I do really enjoy helping people. That is something that I want to do as like part of my life. I'm not quite sure in what aspect. But that it just kind of tied back to asking myself like, why do I want to live longer? So I did write about it 3 times. I might look down a bit because I have my journal and like what I actually wrote down here. And it took me kind of quite a bit to get into it, and I had to keep asking myself why. So it was like, let's see, I had it right here. So I had vague answers at first, like to help people, like to learn more, to teach others. And so I asked myself, like, why? Like, what do I want to learn? What do I want to teach? How do I want to help people? And so that was super helpful for me. Also, just like in my health journey too, it just serves as a really good reminder. It's like, oh, I want to go to the store and like get a bunch of like sugary snack foods. It's like, but this is what I actually want to do. Like, I actually do want to live a long and healthy life. Like, I actually want to be around to help people and to, whatever I want to do. So it's been really helpful for me there. Some of my answers, let's see. Oh, that was just kind of like, I need to determine what I actually want to do. But I kind of have the realization, I think this is like why I want to put my personal development journey up on YouTube, as like encouragement for others to do the same, to work on their mindset, to work on themselves, to be able to get to like that next stage in their life or their next stage of themselves. So as kind of this aspect of like, I want to help people with my life, kind of showing like what I've done and encouraging others to do the same. On the second time I questioned it is when I got more specific. So I actually like listed some of the random things I want to learn, like anatomy. Like that's super random, but like I don't know, I just want to know about the human anatomy because I'm a human. And different things like nutrition and psychology, some stuff that I have taken a few classes or studied. No, I don't have a degree in anything. I've tried 3 times and I just stopped. I'm not even going to go into there. But I just want to learn about these things. So I kind of made lists like, what do I want to do? I want to travel. I want to travel to different countries and different cities within countries. I want to volunteer. I want to teach people how to love themselves and take care of themselves, and become the best version of themselves. So I got more specific, and then let's see, I wrote about it one more time. And I asked myself this time, why do I want to live to be 100? Because that's just the number I have in my head. Like, I'm just gonna live to be 100, and I'm not gonna be old until I'm like 90. And yeah. I just have all this stuff in my head. So it's like um, I have time. Like, I want to live to be a healthy 100, so I have time, and I'm not putting pressure on myself. So it's not like, oh my god, I'm already like more than halfway through my 20s and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, I better figure this out now. And it's like, oh, I don't have time for that. I need to do this instead. It's like, well, I have time, so I can choose to work on myself now, and I have time to help others. I can work on myself and get to a good point, and then in like a year from now or whatever, where I'm in a better place, and I know more what I want to do and where I want to focus my energy, like then I can help others. Or like, I'm currently kind of back to like learning French, just because, well, I don't know, I want to learn French. And so like I can do that, and I can do that now, and then I can learn Italian later, or whatever I feel like learning. Like, I have time. I still have 74 years of time to do all these things. So I don't have to put pressure on myself to do everything right now and then get overwhelmed and end up doing nothing, because that's what I do. I have all of this time, but it's kind of like unconsciously like triggered things for me too. Like with eating healthier and like being consistent about like walking and doing yoga. I don't really like exercise, quote unquote. I do like strength training sometimes, like bodyweight exercises at home, but I'm more like a walker and a yoga person. Is what I like to do. And even like meditating, I've been meditating twice a day instead of once a day. So I think just kind of unconsciously is like, I want to live a long and healthy life. I want to be here for myself. I want to be here for others. There's lots of ways in which I want to support people, and so I want to be here for that. And so actually like seeing that and thinking that and realizing that gives like a purpose behind taking care of myself, instead of just, I should take care of myself. Um, that was all I wrote on it. I think I could probably siphon out some more, but it was really helpful to me. Just like, why do I want to live a long time? Like, what do I want to do? And get specific. Why do I want to do that? Why do I want to do that? Like, what do I want to learn? What do I want to teach? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? And just long listing that was super helpful for me, both consciously and unconsciously. Done with that notebook. So some of the other a few, I just have like a short list of kind of takeaways. So I listened to 2 podcasts from the Perfectionism Project, which I think I talked about in my last video. I'll probably talk about that one a lot. I listen to that podcast a lot. And so I have a list of two of the podcasts, and I'll link them below in the description. So some of the things like I'd already kind of learned, but like it's good to hear again, and like get different takeaways from. So one of the things, I think somebody else had said it, I don't remember who, I probably should have remembered who, said that make decisions quickly and change them slowly. So if you're like, you have A or B, or A through Z, you have a million different options. Make a decision quickly and don't all of a sudden change that. So actually go through and work towards that decision that you make, like actually work at it, instead of being like, oh, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that, and like kind of flip-flopping back and forth. Like, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't just like start doing it. I kind of took something else from that too, in terms of like, make the decision quickly, make your decision and stick with it, but then also work at it, like not slowly but deliberately. So if it's something that's going to take a little bit of time to set up or get started, actually like give yourself a reasonable and ample amount of time to do it, but also kind of pushing yourself to keep going, where you have to like do work at it every day or so. But then also like make deliberate actions. So don't just be like, oh, I made this decision, like talking about getting healthy, like, oh, I made a decision, I'm gonna get healthy. And then you just kind of like do whatever, like actually make a plan, like what foods you're gonna eat, are you gonna exercise as well, like, you know, find a plan and stick to it and make those deliberate actions, or create a plan and stick to it instead of just being like super vague about what you're doing, because that's something else where you're never going to get anywhere if you are super vague and you aren't like actually working towards something. Other things is, oh my gosh, this one is like, ooh, light bulb moment. Procrastination is the opposite of decision. So I always thought, and she explained this too, you procrastination or you have action. And I agree with her, that's not the case. It's the opposite of decision. So when you're procrastinating on something, you are then like not making a decision. This also seems like saying I don't know and staying confused instead of actually just making a decision when you actually probably do know, or you can very easily figure out like what to do next or what you want to do. That was super huge. So I just kind of noticed it in my own life. Lately, I haven't quite been procrastinating on um, like making a decision or like taking an action, like taking like the first step. But I have been procrastinating on following through with stuff and actually putting in that work every day. I don't usually do stuff on Sunday, so 6 days a week, and for being honest. And procrastinating in a way too that where like I don't make the decision to commit to myself, or to like commit to the things I do. So like, yeah, I can make that decision and that's fine. I'm not procrastinating anymore, yay. But I'm making the decision to not follow through and to not commit to myself and to not commit to my plans by procrastinating. And so that was kind of like huge for me because I thought, oh, maybe I'm just getting lazy or I'm getting distracted or whatever, but like, no, I'm actually procrastinating from following through. Like, that was so a light bulb moment. Something else too. So I make a list every morning of 10 things that I'm grateful for. So I've been doing this since the start of the year. I don't really make New Year's resolutions, but it's just something that I started doing this year. And so she talked about having things that you don't have but you want be like on a gratitude list. So like I'm grateful for my success, whatever that happens to mean. Or I'm grateful that like I lost the weight that I wanted to lose, or what else have I been writing? Like I'm grateful that I travel half the year. I don't currently travel half the year, but that is my goal. I would love to travel half the year. So putting that on there so it's almost like it's already real, and you start to believe that it is real and it's happening, and you can start to figure out ways to actually make that happen instead of it just being like a dream or a goal. So I've started doing that, which I kind of forgot the first couple days. So I think I've only been doing that 2 days, but I like it. I'm not quite as specific with those, so it's still something I'm working on. Obviously, I mean, I've done it twice. So I'm still in the progress, but I do like that. I think it's important to be grateful for really everything, but even things that you don't have yet. It just helps you believe that it's possible. I also I know last time I talked about having a life purpose, but one of the things that she said, I think it was in the second podcast, number 32, was about people are so worried about like their life purpose and having a life purpose. But instead she just ask yourself, what are you interested in? And I kind of thought too, or ask yourself like, what do you want your next step to be? And that kind of goes back to like why, kind of one of the things that I said with why do you want to live longer? Why do I want to live to be 100? It's because I want to have time to do stuff without thinking it's the wrong thing, without changing my mind after making a decision, and actually, put in the effort, or without getting overwhelmed and doing nothing, is just, what's the next step? Like, what do I want to do next instead? And so that's why I'm not, I was talking about life purpose of like helping others, and that's super vague, and that's totally okay. Because I don't have to be focused on like what I'm going to be doing with my life. I would just rather focus on like what am I going to be doing next? Like what do I want to, add into the work that I do, or, what do I want to like start doing and maybe stop doing something else. Just really, what do I want to do next and where do I want to go next? And I don't have to really focus on like this big life path or life story. It can just be, where am I at now and where do I want to go? And that's it. And that's so much easier, I think, too, than having to think about your whole life, because that is super overwhelming and very daunting and can really just keep you where you're at, which, again, I love where I'm at and I would be grateful for all the things that I do have. But I want to come from a place of gratitude, but still be curious about what I can do and who I can be, and keep growing as well. The last thing, the second podcast I listened to, episode 32 from the Perfectionism Project, was about feeling discouraged. And so she said that feeling discouraged is similar to self-doubt, which made a lot of sense to me. And discouragement and self-doubt can really stop you if you let it. So some of the things that she said that I appreciate, I'm just kind of be reading here, was that like discouragement and self-doubt comes from your thoughts, not your circumstances, which I knew, but it's always good a reminder, like your thoughts really start everything. And this comes from the Life Coach School by Brooke Castillo. It's kind of where I learned it first and where she learned it too, is your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions, create your results, or consequences, however you want to word that. So everything really comes from your thoughts. So if you're feeling discouraged or you're feeling self-doubt, it comes from something that you're thinking, and you can change your thoughts to create any feeling. So you can just look at a circumstance from any different perspective, which is why I really love different perspectives and finding out about them from other people, and trying to see things from multiple angles. Because if you can just change your perspective on something and change your thought on something, it can literally change everything. So that was a really good reminder for me. And also, if you are feeling discouraged, to really work on your mindset. If you would like to change your thoughts and your perspectives on things, and to review your expectations, because not everybody's gonna like think and feel the same way about things that you do. This one didn't hit me quite as much, but it was one of the things that she mentioned. Just like reviewing your expectations, make sure that you have kind of realistic expectations, especially if you're expecting other people to do things. You can't control other people. I don't know about you, but I can barely control myself. You definitely can't control other people. So just reviewing that expectation and then focusing on effort, which is something that I learned from her a while ago. This podcast, by the way, Perfectionism Project, is by Sam Laura Brown. I follow her on Instagram as well, and she has a blog. She has a lot of good worksheets that come up with her blog posts, so I recommend that also. But I've learned from her too to focus on effort instead of focusing on results. Because if you're constantly judging what you're doing based on the results that you're getting or probably not getting, because if you're only doing something for a couple weeks, you're not going to be seeing results yet, then you're just going to want to stop. You're like, oh, it's not working, you need to quit. But if you focus on effort and just, I just need to do this today and that tomorrow and on and on and on, eventually you will see the results. And it does help too with getting discouraged. It's like I'm not worried about, like on my health journey, I'm not worried about or I'm not focused on getting to a certain number on the scale, for example, or back to a certain number of push-ups that I can do. Like I just want to go on my walks every day and do yoga every day and strength train a couple of days a week. Like that's all that I'm really worried about. And I know that with that and with the way that I'm changing my eating, I will eventually see results. But if I start worrying about seeing results tomorrow, I'm gonna quit. So I just focus on the effort. And that was it. I feel like that was kind of a lot. I see this video is already kind of long. But that was everything that I really learned in the last week. Definitely asking myself, why do I want to live longer, or why do I want to live to be 100, or whatever, however age you want to be. A healthy 100. I want to be a healthy 100. Yeah, I don't want to be like falling apart for the last 25 years of my life. I want to be a healthy 100. That was definitely like the biggest one. And also seeing procrastination as the opposite of decision was a really big one too. So that was it. I encourage you to listen to the podcast and follow Sam Laura Brown, because she does have a lot of good stuff. I'm not like associated with her by any means whatsoever. But I do really enjoy her podcast. I am a bit behind. The ones I'm listening to, she put out like last spring, but I enjoy listening to them. And I really enjoy her weekly emails and her blogs. And there's a lot of things she's put out that come with like worksheets and working on like new beliefs, which is something that I'm doing also. Working on your self-image. So she puts out a lot of really good and really helpful content. She's also the reason that I like have a blog and now have a YouTube channel. She, watching her journey with all of this, like encouraged me to do the same. So listen to those, and that's all I've got. So I will be back next week. Thank you guys, and have a good week.